back on another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. My name is Jonathan Howe. He is Travis Cunningham. I'm back from a vacation and ready to get into this show. This episode, of course, brought to you by Ohsweken Speedway, Van Sickle Pet Value, and PV on the Lane, where you can both get your tickets for Merrittville Speedway on Saturday nights. And, of course, our friends at Bicknell Racing Products also sponsoring the show. Travis, episode 66 by my count. Do you have a 66? Because I got to admit, I've come to this unprepared.
Ooh, there's a local one running right now in the Sportsman. You want that one?
Am I missing it? Who's in the Sportsman 66?
It's a racing family.
Oh, no. Now you're stumping me. I should know it. Now I'm like, hang on.
Yeah, you should.
66.
Although, I don't know if he's been running at Merrittville. He runs it mostly at Humberstone. Jeff Penante.
Oh, duh. Yeah. Jeez. You're right. No,
Yeah.
he has not raced that much at Merrittville. I'm looking at it. It looks like he's got 4 features this year. So, been kind of limited.
That counts.
But
Mine is my old buddy who used to do SOS Tour. He was definitely your typical, he would like tow with an Astrovan and an open trailer. My boy Frank Baranowski.
good.
66.
I like that.
There's
Another one of those
NHL
numbers that...
great Josh Hosang.
I was going to say, it's such a great hockey number, obviously, for Mario Lemieux, but not really one that gets used in racing all that much. Although it is very aesthetically pleasing.
There's like a dirt modified, a famous one. The Trck car. They put a lot of different drivers in there. It's been around a while. The dad of that family passed away recently, but the kid kept it going. Like Matt's driven that car, Stewie, the doctor, Tim McCready. I think is that the one he drives when he drives a modified these days? I think so. If Timmy McCready runs a modified these days, it's usually in the Trck car. So there's one.
All right.
That's about it.
All right. Well, let's...
hopefully I'm not missing one.
We're going to do a show, no guest, after we had our roundtable episode a couple weeks back. We're going to just run through kind of the weekend that was and tee up, what's going to be the final points night at Merrittville Speedway. We're going to tee up 2 weeks left in the points series, point standings over at Ohsweken. And we got a show at Humberstone this weekend to get to as well for Labor Day. So that's a busy weekend ahead for the dirt racing world. But let's start with Friday night from Ohsweken, because they got rained out, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, they did not get a show in. Again, coming back from vacation. I'm still in vacation mode. I'm like, what happened when? I was here for the weekend, but yeah, I do remember that now. They had the wet grounds because it didn't actually rain all that much Friday. It was mostly the Friday morning, early morning, and late Thursday night that really kind of doomed Ohsweken. So that was tough to see, but I hate to see rain out on the schedule. But you guys have had it a lot better than we've had it at Merrittville. Merrittville's had way more rainouts, I think, than Ohsweken has this year.
I think you're right.
I mean,
last year was like the year that never ended. There was no rainouts. This year's the other way. Hopefully next year's more.
Back to
There's nothing wrong with a timed rainout like once in the year or so.
Yeah,
once or twice, but
it kind of works out well.
Weeks off at Ohsweken these days, but not quite as many weeks off next year.
Yeah, you want to go You want to go racing at home, right? That's the biggest thing. I think they're trying to be cooperative and help the SOS with their traveling, but Ohsweken's like the premier facility, so why not just let them roll with it, right? So, let's look to
back in like the
go ahead
early or the mid 2010s when like Ohsweken some years would have no nights off for 3 6. Well, that's because there's no crates back then either. But it was different sleds back then, different times.
Yes. Let's head to Saturday night, where we had Scott Wood getting his just desserts after coming up a little short a couple weeks back. He finally breaks through for a 358 win in the Corpac Merchandising 358s. Wins it over Pete Bicknell. Shane Pierce with a solid top 3 run. Daryl Fairway, I think that's the hard charger on the night, gaining 9 spots. Started 13th, finished 4th. And Trevor Wright with a solid top 5 as well, in what I believe is his final start at Merrittville this year, as he's chasing more of the BRP tour.
Yep, he's been rocking the BRP tour, doing a pretty good job on that. I watched Sharon last night. Matt won Sharon, and Trevor ran good there when I watched him earlier in the year. But one that stood out was Shane finishing 3rd, and the picture he posted was a huge cushion. Was it really like Must have been a huge cush because the picture he posted looked like it was about this high.
Yeah, it was definitely bigger than normal nights, I guess, but I think that might have just been because the crates that ran before them. Uh,
And then, oh yeah, right,
so
different tires, different night kind of thing. Yep.
yeah, exactly. And speaking of those crates, the West Tour for the Action Sprint Tour wrapped up with Mike Bowman in victory lane once again. I think that made it 6 in the series. He won every one except for the opening one at Ohsweken, which went
He
to
wins a lot.
McDeman. So he's been kind of on fire.
Clint said Clint said on their show Tuesday night that he's not going to run the crate next year because they didn't expect as much success as they had in the 360 this year. So they did the thing kind of like Dexter did, where they ran both.
Yeah,
But apparently next year he's not going to do that. So
yeah.
he'll just win more 360 races.
One more champion, or well, not one more, but finish out this year with a championship chase in the crates, and then see how
And
that
then
goes.
didn't Brett almost won that though,
Yeah, Brett was out there
or Brett
for,
led for a while? Let's say.
I'd say, for the first half of it, maybe even first 3 quarters of that race. It seemed like Stratford was doing really well. I'm trying to remember what he said in victory lane. I want to say it was lap 17. He described the tires started to go away on him of the feature, and basically said it was almost like a switch went off, and once those tires went away on him and he burned up, I think, the right rear, he was saying, in victory lane. It was hard for him to hold off both Bowman and Andrew Hennessy. So Bowman gets the win. Andrew Hennessy comes home second with a great run.
Yeah.
Brett Stratford third, Dale Curran fourth, and Johnny Miller rounds out your top 5 in that one. It was a great battle, though. Hennessy, Bowman, and Stratford were pretty much all together under a blanket for the majority of the race. I would say the last half of it really was all them. So that was a
Yeah.
lot of fun to see.
Hennessy's going to win one soon. He's starting to figure that out.
Yeah, he sounded really confident when I talked to him in on the front stretch after his second place finish. He just felt. I think he just kind of made a couple quick adjustments to the car, did some new setup things, and it really paid off. And that 87 just completely came to life. And he basically just followed Bowman through the field. They were started on the same row. Bowman 7th, Hennessy 8th, and then drove up through it. And yeah, but they both caught Stratford, who Stratford looked really, really good. But how about those GSR cars, right?
Yeah. Brett can weld and drive.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
definitely. GSR chassis looking
Brett's always
strong.
been like, I've said it before, but like Brett was one of my first heroes in karting, and like he's always been one of my welding heroes too.
Yeah,
I
he's building something
met him
cool.
and Bob Slack at the same time, working in the same shop, at Slack shop back in the day.
Nice. Yeah, they've got something going on in that GSR program. So
I agree. That chassis shop is pretty.
it's gonna be growing. That's what I think.
Yep.
And
People are going to buy them now.
yeah, people are gonna be on the phone.
Through skepticism, but yeah, that's over. They've won. They've got Ohsweken figured out.
Yeah,
I was going to buy one just keep it as like an Ohsweken car.
ooh, interesting. Okay,
Thinking about it.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're pretty loyal to the Panther gang, so
I am on that too. Yeah,
so
I know.
tough decisions in the off season. A tough decision on Saturday night. It wasn't really so much a decision as just how things worked out. The Hoosier Stock finish, pretty controversial. Ron Logie gets the win over Mark Fawcett, Jason Fontaine, and Dave Bailey. Pete Reed round out your top 5 in that one. But Logie and
Okay.
Fawcett side by side
Yeah.
at the line. And when I say the line, I mean the starters stand, because I'm going to go off that for a second. And at the starters stand, Mark Fawcett was definitely ahead. However, if you're familiar with Merrittville Speedway, you know that the timing line is further towards turn 4 than the actual start finish flag stands. So I would say, I believe when I called it on the night live with my own eyes, I called it as Logie getting there first from the outside lane. Fawcett made nosed ahead the further they went down the front stretch, and then timing and scoring called it Ron Logie by a 1,000th of a second. And it's just a weird situation at Merrittville where if I'm understanding how it was explained, and I do believe that race director Doug Leonard was actually on the Race Rivals chat. If you want to check out Clinton and Adam's show on YouTube, I'm pretty sure he probably explained things fairly similar in the fact that the line that goes across the track that counts the electronic timing and scoring at Merrittville is uh, further ahead of the flag, and I believe also on a diagonal, if I understood it. So the bottom lane actually has to go a little bit further to hit the stripe compared to the outside lane.
Yeah. that's where the whole debate that they had comes into play, and we might as well just get this topic out of the way now. Whereas like Clinton and Doug were arguing about that it's got to be by the transponder because they can't go through all the footage and all that and argue about every single position. But like to me, like it's got to be a little bit visual too. Like I think it should be. I'm kind of in the middle, like a visual post at the scoring line in the where the scoring or the transponder loop is in the track. There's got to be a visual post there just to see, like, and like a camera going there. In my opinion, just to see every position go by there. Because if the line's crooked, I know, like to me, that's I don't get that.
Well, I think the problem with and I see what Doug's saying, because you, as soon as you start doing it for one spot, you're gonna want to, your drivers are gonna want you to be doing it for every single spot.
No,
And
I know
and do
that.
you
I know
really
that.
want to be
To me, it's
reviewing?
got to be just for the win. Everything
Yeah,
else is for the transponder, but like just for the win, like maybe a visual thing with a camera going at the transponder loop, not the start finish line. So every track would be different. Every track you would have to have that post. And this mainly, like the street stock race at Merrittville, like what they race for them, like for $350 or something. I'm not trying to say that's bad or anything, but like earlier in the year, a late model race had the very same situation. In my opinion, they gave 50 grand to the wrong person who didn't win the race.
hmm
Earlier this year, it was Bobby Pierce and who was the other one? I forget. Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepard maybe. But anyway,
yeah,
Bobby Pierce ended up winning, but the picture definitely showed to me Bobby Pierce was definitely behind by a nose. So it's such a little thing. And for me, like the bigger races for 50,000 for the win should be visual
definitely.
at the transponder loop, not the flag stand.
Definitely.
But that's just my
And I don't
opinion.
know how difficult it is to get like a stop motion camera or some kind of radar camera that's set up there for the stripe. I don't know if that means it has to be automated. I don't know. Like there are definitely some headaches involved with trying to do something like that. However, I do fully support it. Makes me think of the NASCAR finish at Darlington from what 2003, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven. When they say the
Yeah. Oh,
broadcast,
for
they
sure.
literally
Yeah.
say it's a good thing the Pontiac had a kick out on the nose, right? Because technically the Pontiac's nose
Yeah.
was slanted out further, right? And that was the
Possibly the
difference.
best finish in motorsports history.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? And
That could have been.
it's
Yeah.
the same thing. This was a nose kick
I'm
out.
glad you brought that up. Good visual. Good. I like that.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect
The only thing that was
comparison.
different is that Logie and Fawcett had the same front end. I'm pretty sure. Maybe Fawcett's has a little bit
Yeah,
more
they're
to
both Camaros.
kick out on it.
Did we talk about the transponders yet?
Oh, no, we have not. So Logie also had his transponder, and you can explain kind of how this fits and works better. But so his was upright versus being
One of
laid
them,
down.
I think his might have been laid down instead of vertical, which I don't know how much that would matter, but yeah. It wasn't in the rules, so next year it's clearly going to be in the rules vertical. I don't know where they go on a street stop. In the modifieds, they go on the right rear quarter,
hmm
and then like a sprint car, they go on the right front corner.
hmm
But yeah,
Yeah,
definitely going to have to change. Yeah, it was just so close, and then that popping up too. Like, what do you do in Doug's position? Definitely a tough call there. But like for me, especially the big money races, got to have that visual mark at the transponder loop, whatever it is, that specific track, and the millions of tracks out there. Not millions, but you know what I'm saying. Just the transponder line, visual thing. Just and if you're and like I get just for the win, and like I get like what they're saying, like every little person coming up and arguing for 17th. If you're a person that's coming up and arguing for 17th, like come on, it wasn't your night. Just
yeah,
take your $5 loss and take her home what the next position would take you. But like for the win and a $50,000 payday, oof,
yeah. So
I don't know. That's got to go to the thing.
it's definitely
That's it.
something that's got to be looked at, and I'm sure it will be in the off season how it can be improved, not just at Maryville, but I think tracks in general. Obviously, if Clint and Adam are talking about it, and Doug, that means they're going to be
Yeah, because it's
talking about it
happened
at Ohsweken, even, right?
quite a bit the last little bit. Like I bet you it happens more than you think.
Well, with how close,
And to
especially the
me, a
Hoosier Stock
transponder
division
can
is.
make a little mistake every now and then.
Yeah, and with
You
how
know,
close that division is, like this is gonna be an issue. The cars are all running the same speed, and basically, it just comes down to driver talent that day. And when you get two guys who are both very accomplished and both trending upwards in terms of their seasons going the right way, like Logie and Fawcett are, there's a chance that they're gonna run the same speed and could end up in a near tie, like we saw on Saturday. Like that's just how it's
yeah.
gonna
Then,
go.
like in that situation, there was no camera other than the one in the air back in turn 4, which you can
which
barely
I
see.
had a problem with because I had people sending me that shot, and it does show Fawcett is ahead, but again, the
It's
line,
so hard to tell where they are on the track in
yeah,
that
and
shot.
the line is different, and just because his back end is a little bit further ahead than Logie's doesn't mean his front end's already past the Tim Horton starter stand. Because if it's past the starter stand, it's a moot point anyways. You can be as far ahead of the leader as you want at that point because the race is already over, and you, according to timing and scoring, are scored second. So I get the
Yeah.
frustration from Fawcett. Like you can look at it from that angle. You can probably, I'm sure somebody might have taken a photo in the stands or something. There might be an angle that shows one way or the other. But again, like without that true radar camera sitting there and measured not at the line straight across the track, but actually following the angle of the line of the timing line, like I just don't know what else you're
Yeah.
supposed to do in that particular
I just
situation besides
realized,
go off the what says in the car.
like, that kind of happened to me this year, but it wasn't for the win. It was for the last spot in the B main, and I beat the guy by 0.051. It was the exact same thing. I thought I nipped him, but like until I got back to the pits and looked at the board, I had no clue.
Yeah, right. It's like what can you even see at that point? Because you guys are Hans deviced in, so it's not like you
I
can
just
really
thought I
look
had a
over.
bumper on him. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like to me, the way that worked out, I bet you Utica Rome's loop is probably like Merrittville's a little bit closer to 4 than that stand.
yeah.
Just the way that one worked out. Yeah.
So moving on in that night, we also got the Rono Deutsch Mod Lights. Brent Bigelow gets another win over Josh Slider. Brent Bigelow just having a season for the ages. We talked about, I don't want to say like, oh, drivers have to move up, they have to do whatever, but we heard this week that, Mike Bowman is done with that crate class. Like he is ready to just
After this
concentrate
year,
on
he's still gonna.
360 full time in 2024
Yeah.
and not try to split his time between both. And I- you kind of have to wonder after like what Brent Bigelow's done, not just this year, but even last year as well. It's not like he wasn't any less dominant last year. Like, is it time for him to run the sportsman program full time? I know it's a very different situation because it's his own ride in the sportsman, and there's a lot more effort and stuff that's got to go in. Whereas I believe, he's got some help in that 16 car in terms of the Savage Race Chassis gang, which is Josh Slider and the crew, kind of putting pieces on that race car and making it as stout as possible for Brent. But I mean, what else is there left to do
I
for
don't
him in
know.
Mod Lights?
It's a tough decision. I'm kind of like I hate when guys pull double duty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm on that side of the fence just because that guy's getting 2 shots at the racetrack where most guys aren't getting it. Like that whatever race is first, he'll come in the next division. That he's already been out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where it comes with me. I don't care about what class it is, this that. Just to me, I think it should be one division a night.
And to give Brent credit,
I
he
understand
doesn't.
if you're hurting for cars and stuff. I understand there's a million
Yeah,
variables to it, but
and to give Brent credit, like he hasn't been running the Sportsman every single night at Merrittville.
yeah. So in
So
that situation, I get
yeah,
it. But
but knowing he's got that Sportsman car, it's like you almost want to see what he can do if he really put all the energy into the Sportsman car. It'd be interesting to
mhm.
see. Either way, he gets the win over Josh Slider, Leroy Buscombe with a solid third place run, Tyler Winger fourth, and Rob Meisner rounds out your top five
He
in the
came
Rona
close
Deutsch
to a
Mod
ship
Lights.
in the Sportsman before. I think. I know. Yeah.
I feel like the
Was it one
first
of the
season I
Cody
was
Beers?
covering things at Merrittville. I'm
I
pretty
feel like
sure,
that's
like
roughly when.
2019.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was close. I
Something like that.
feel like he was third or something.
He was up
Yeah.
there.
So
He can win all that Sportsman too.
yeah, he definitely can. So I would love to see him go
I
for it.
cheer harder for him when he wins into Sportsman. I'm just gonna. I told that to Josh Slider since he won his first Mod Light race. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
you win these a lot. Now Brent's the new Josh.
He literally is really.
Paul Klager was another one. Lots of guys have had runs like that in the Mod Lights, but
Where you just get hot
it's
and
been
you
pretty
got
good.
the right chassis underneath you and you just can really roll, right? So
Yep.
we'll round out the night at Merrittville with the Van Sickle Pet Value PV on the lane, 4 cylinders. Kenny Hare gets the win in the 5K over Alex Riley. John Lubeck, Kyle Rothwell, Austin Worstro. Ken Hare, kind of my neighbor. Actually, I just found out he lives in my neighborhood. I was walking my dog and I randomly see this red truck that's got to pull into a driveway. And I'm like, oh, I got to stop, let them in. And then I look into the passenger, I'm like, or look into through the passenger window. I'm like, oh, hey, Ken. And he's like, oh, hey. So we were discovering that Niagara Falls is a smaller place than you think sometimes. Either way, it was great to see Kenny win, especially I believe that was a new power plant in that one. I think he had one expire on him the previous weekend, so good way to burn up that one and get it going again. Alex Riley, strong run from 13th to second, which definitely makes the points situation interesting. John Lubeck third, Kyle Rothwell fourth, and Austin Worstrow rounds out your top five in the Vansicle Pet Value PV on the Lane 4 cylinders, which again is kind of like the only, I don't want to say the only, but definitely the closest battle. The folks from Vansicle Pet Value and PV on the Lane aren't just fans of your favorite four-legged friends, they are race fans too. That's why Jeff and Rhonda Riley, as well as their staff, have teamed up with Merrittville Speedway to make your race day experience more convenient. Race fans can now pick up tickets for race nights while grabbing the highest quality food, treats, toys, and accessories for their pets from the St. Catharines and Niagara Falls locations. Each grandstand ticket will also have a voucher that can be used in-store for a free pet bath at their dog wash stations. Drivers and crew members can also skip the line by purchasing pit passes in-store, giving them more time to get their rides ready for Saturday nights. Check out Vansicle Pet Value across from Best Buy and Walmart on 4th Avenue in St. Catharines, and PV on the Lane at the corner of Kayla Road and Lundy's Lane, Highway 20.
It's the only one. I'll say it. It's the only one.
Yeah, it pretty much is, right? Because I believe we worked it out that 60 points is the most you can make up in one night. And Pete Bicknell is leading the modified championship over Freddie Carlton by 60 points heading into the final night. Cody McPherson is up on James Friesen 50 points, but Cody's going to show up for that because it counts.
I thought it was 58.
I'm seeing 50. However,
is it 50? If it's 50, there's a little bit closer of a chance, but
I'm seeing this as of, well, I guess that's because that they didn't race last week. I'm like, why is it showing August 8th, 19th was the last time it was updated? Because they didn't race. I'm seeing 50 points. That's what is on the Merrittville website right now going into the final.
Because that one's barely alive. Yeah. Cody kind of has to break on the way to the track and then get a ride from someone
Bailey's
else.
Wrapped up the Hoosier Stock Championship over Pete Reed. That one's at 88 points right now going into the final night. Brent Bigelow's up 104 points on RJ Pitts. Shout out to RJ. He's done a great job doing all he can, kind of top fiving him to death.
That's
really stuff.
What I noticed the most about when I looked at the points is my boy RJ Pitts in second in the Mod Lights.
Yeah, that's great to see, eh?
That's the one that really made my eyes open.
He's up 20. He's up 16 points on Josh Slater. Like, who had that on the card?
Did Josh miss tonight?
I
don't think he missed one there. He misses in that Humberstone if he has to miss him.
Because he had the.
I don't think
he had his kid one weekend, so I just don't know if he.
Yeah, he might have missed that one.
He might have missed.
Okay, he did miss that one week.
But either way,
that's okay.
He still wouldn't really be all.
RJ still got him.
Yeah, so RJ would have got him still. Josh would be second, but he wouldn't be close to Brent. So that one is over. And then we get to the 4 cylinders. Austin Worstrow has a 9-point lead on Alex Riley. He's up 21 points on Cole Hardy. Olivier Larocque is 28 points back in 4th. So it's far from over. There are mathematically 4 guys who could walk out of the championship on that night.
One question for you. If this was 365 days ago and we were doing our points review before the final night at Merrittville, would you have guessed the only one that has a real shot at a points battle going into the final night the year after would have been the mini stock?
I mean, it's tough to say because I think at that point we didn't know
the way last year went.
We didn't know what Tyler LaFontaine was going to do, and Kyle Rothwell, also another guy who hasn't really committed to a full-time schedule this year, and
he's still like 4th in points.
Yeah, he's 7th right now. He's 7th, so he's had a good year. Don't get me wrong, but I would have thought one of those two would have just ran away with the championship 365 days ago. And here we are with a great battle between 4 drivers who, Cole Hardy's got a couple track championships at Humberstone. I don't remember if he said on the show if he's got one from Merrittville yet. I feel like that was one of the ones he still needed to get. Maybe I'm wrong.
You're right.
And Olivier Larocque, another one who's had a really nice season. Alex Riley back to full time has been super impressive, and obviously that piece is.
He didn't miss any weeks.
Who, Alex Riley?
Yeah,
I believe he might have. I believe he actually took 2 weeks off. I'm trying to see where it shows how many features he had.
2 weeks off and still getting it done.
Let's see.
Next level.
Full points here. No, he's missed 1 week. So with 11 features, he sits 9 points back of Austin Worstrow.
That's doable.
So that'd be pretty impressive if he can pull it off. They both are tied on wins. Alex Riley has one extra top 5. They have the same amount of top 10s. And then Worstro's got one extra feature start on Riley. And then the rest of the top 5 have 12 feature starts as well. So, yeah, I mean, if he doesn't win the championship, do you kick yourself if you're Alex Riley? I mean, how could you? You you, you took some time off. I believe they went on a vacation. I believe it was a family trip or something like that. So it's not like you're going to be that upset about what happens. But 9 points right now separating them. That's oh, that would chap me just a little bit.
Love to see it.
Going to be a good one. It's going to be a barn burner on Saturday night for championship night. We haven't talked a lot about the point standings over at Ohsweken Speedway. So they've got
They're just getting spicy.
two.
We waited the perfect
Yeah,
time.
we've got 2 points nights left. And I'm looking at it right now.
Yep.
I'm looking at the Middleport Mechanical Thunderstocks first because that's the first one I clicked on. Ryan Beagle up 2 points on Kyle Wirt. He's up 4 points on Dave Bailey.
They were spicy.
And then I believe it's 74 back to Trevor DeBoer, who's the 4th place runner right now. But those top 3 separated by 4 points with 2 weeks to go. Oh, how could you ask for anything more? The Southern Ontario Dirt Show is brought to you by Ohsweken Speedway, Southern Ontario's home for Friday night excitement. For over 25 years, Ohsweken Speedway has promoted and played host to sprint car racing with a new season of family-friendly events on the horizon and set to begin May 19th. Catch our own Travis Cunningham as he races weekly in the 360 division each Friday night in pursuit of a season-long championship. The Friday night lineups are rounded out by crate sprints, thunderstocks, and mini-stock divisions as well. In addition to weekly racing, Ohsweken Speedway will also hold several marquee events for the Southern Ontario Sprints, the Action Sprint Tour in their West Series and National Series, as well as a visit from Canada's premier stock car series, the NASCAR Pinty Series on August 14th and 15th for their only stop on dirt. Mark your calendars as the 3/8 mile dirt track located in Ohsweken, Ontario welcomes drivers from across the country and beyond for the 19th running of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, which is scheduled for September 16th. To keep up to date with the latest news from the track, be sure to find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For track information on policies, admissions, directions, and more, be sure to visit ohswekenspeedway.ca. That's OHSWEKEN Speedway.ca. Ohsweken Speedway, your home for Friday night excitement. The Southern Ontario Dirt Show is brought to you by Bicknell Racing Products. The last 40 years plus have seen Bicknell Racing Products grow to be an industry leader for racers and enthusiasts alike. Their St. Catharines location is home to 20,000 square feet of manufacturing and retail space, with a second store in Niagara Falls, New York, and a dealer network that continues to grow day by day to serve Southern Ontario, Western New York, and beyond. Bicknell Racing Products distributes Hoosier tires for much of Eastern Canada, New York, and even parts of Pennsylvania. BRP has everything you could need to keep your car performing at its peak, with genuine parts from the manufacturer. They even have a technical support line committed to helping you with the most up-to-date information and feedback from racers and crew chiefs. Have you ever thought about a career in the automotive or racing industry? Now is your chance to take the leap with Bicknell Racing Products. They are looking for CNC machine operators, welders, and more to join their team this season. Please send all resumes to Dana Curving at BicknellRacingProducts.com. That's DANA CURVIN at BicknellRacingProducts.com. For further information on Bicknell Racing Products and to find a dealer near you, visit BRP online at www.BicknellRacingProducts.com or on Facebook or at twitter.com/BicknellRacing.
I just love, man, I love the Beegs because we race with him all winter in the BRP. And he doesn't say much in the chat, but when he does say something, we all end up laughing because it's just the most dry humor banger ever from the Beegs. But Kyle Wirt has the best fire suit in racing. We need to have him on the show. Do you ever seen his fire suit?
I've not, and it's like overalls though. I think
it's like
I haven't seen
overalls.
it in person. I should say I've seen it on the broadcasts, but yeah, it's like a fire suit with overalls. It's neat.
It's just embroidered to look like it. It's perfect.
It's pretty hilarious. So, and you actually are working on setting up Kyle Wirt, so maybe if he can.
I added him to Facebook for that reason.
So let's see if he keeps it close into the final championship week and do. I almost feel like you're jinxing somebody if you have him on the week before the championship.
Oh no, we can't have him on now. But yeah. Oh, true. I see what you're saying there.
Let the Thunderstock season.
I'm a superstitious guy. So.
I know.
2 points though.
I'm a little
Biggs had to
suspicious.
miss a
I
night.
wouldn't say I'm
Or
superstitious. I'm
like
a
he
little
showed
suspicious.
up, but he had a problem because I remember one night Beagle had to watch the feature in his clothes. I never asked him what happened that night.
Hmm.
Obviously broke.
I'm also looking at the HRW Automotive mini stocks from Ohsweken right now. They've got a pretty tight little battle. Ryan Hiller is the leader over there over Ashton Dickey and Mike Sarantakos. If I'm reading this correctly, 9 points back is Ashton Dickey, and that looks like 12. Yes, 12 points back for Sarantakos. And then Jeff Elslinger is 42 points back. So it's a top 3 battle in that one, too. And I'm not going to say that I've got a favorite in that or anything like that, but I will say I'm pretty sure Ashton Dickey is the only one of those 3 drivers that has a Southern Ontario Dirt Show sticker on the car. So that's as biased
I'd
as I
love to
can
see
be.
him win. I'm not an announcer. I don't know. I can be biased if I want.
Sure, go for it. Yeah, it's going to be good either way. I think it's going to be a lot of fun in those 2 divisions. It's always, I don't want to say the lower classes, but not like the
Who were the other
headliners.
two in that one?
Sorry, let me go back to it. I just clicked over to the crates.
Tacos.
Sarantaco sits 3rd right now. Ryan Hiller is your points leader in that one.
Oh yeah, see, he's one of the Ohsweken guys I don't know. I know my mini stock better guys at Humberstone and Merrittville.
Well, gotta get around that pit side, obviously.
And Ashton Dickey, yeah, I know him mostly because his dad Chris Dickey was a long time Humberstock guy.
Nice. I'm looking at the crate sprints now. Strickland 602 crate sprints. Mac Demand, your point
I
leader.
feel like that one's close as
It
well.
is Jesse Costa. My eyes are deceiving me here. 8 points back. So it's mostly amongst those top 2 because Brett Stratford is 39 points back. And
2 nights to go, not out of it.
no, he's got time to make it up, and at least make
Needs
it close.
luck. His tough thing, he didn't start the second. I don't think he raced the second Pinty's race because he had that trouble on the first night. And even that night,
No,
he didn't race.
I think that's right.
So he's had a bunch of terrible luck.
You are correct on that because although I'm seeing Mac Demand leading the points right now with only 10 features as well.
Oh yeah, Mac missed one for a wedding. He's missed some too.
Yeah, so he's missed time and he's still
One
the
for
point leader.
sure.
Stratford, it says, has all 11 features that have counted.
To be fair, even Costa, Stratford has all the features counted.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It says 11 next to his name. So
maybe I could have. I don't know if they were counting points or not on the Pinty's night, but I could have swore he broke a rear end the first night.
Maybe it was Action Sprint Tour points that night, not track night.
Oh, I think
because I think it was SOS in the 360, and I think it was Action Sprint Tour in the crates.
You're correct.
So yes, so that's why.
That makes more sense why he didn't show up the second night now.
Yeah,
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
got it
exactly. So, yeah. So either way, you got to give a call to Mac Demand to be up. He has not finished outside the top 10 all year long, which is a big part of the reason that he is in the top. At the top of the standings. He's also got 3 wins, which is the most by anybody not named Mike Bowman, who also has what's Bowman got here? 3 wins in 5 starts.
Stratford has 2.
And yes, Stratford's got 2, and Jesse Costa's got 1 on the year. So as does Austin Rose too, who's 12th in points right now in the 3S, but he's missed some time too.
Nice.
So. But yeah, crate championship still alive and humming with 2 weeks to go. That could tighten up, or maybe Mac Demand.
I got
could
news for you.
Out.
I'm gonna spoiler alert. The 360 points are really close too.
They actually are. You are correct about that. I'm looking at it right now. Ryan Turner sits with a 5-point lead on Mike Bowman with 2 features to go. Both drivers have attempted all 9 features that have counted for points that I'm seeing. Westbrook is
only 9 features count for points
so far. That's what I'm seeing. You said there was a lot of time off, right?
Whew. Jeez, God, can we get that higher, please?
But can we talk about the battle from 3rd on back? Because so Westbrook sits 3rd with 14 points back of leader Ryan Turner. Then Liam Martin is 2 points back of Westbrook, 16 points back of the leader, and Corey Turner is another 2 points back from Liam Martin, and he's sitting 18 points back. So you've got 5 drivers within 20 points of the leader with 2 features left, I believe. 2 features left.
Sounds like this is officially the closest points battle since the one I was in 2012, where Chris Steele won, Gunstars was 2nd. I forget it was 3rd, Tom Hoopnin. Nate was 4th, I was 5th. But on the final night, all top 5 of us were within like 5 points or something like that back then.
I mean, even
It was nuts.
even Darren Dryden, like if he gets hot, he's 46 points back of the leader, but he can make some noise here. Let's say he wins the next two features. Like I don't know if he can steal the championship outright, but he can leapfrog a couple guys and go up the top five standings. So that would be cool to see, man.
Yeah, that's super
Yeah.
tight. If there's only really 9 features we've run,
That's
man,
what it says as of August 14th, 2023.
that's
That's what I'm
correct.
seeing. So, um,
Also, that might be
I mean,
missing
you guys had what, 2 rainouts at least
one rain out.
in the 360s?
Yep.
Wasn't there more? I feel like there was one other one earlier in the year. Maybe, maybe not.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, either way,
Yeah, we just had a lot of nights off.
it's a good time to be a fan of racing at Ohsweken Speedway. The points battles are tight.
That's for sure.
And
Those are what you
it's going to
want.
make for some great TV on GeForce TV. And definitely want to get to the racetrack as well and see that all shake out live. You're going to see a new face. Well, not necessarily a new face, but a new car, a new driver in a new place, if you will. Mikey Kruchka going to
Perfect.
the 77.
Yeah. 77, the Palace second car, 77K. It's going to be Hoopening's been running it, but I guess we're going to give old Mikey Kruchka a shot. And yeah, I'm pumped for him.
I'm pumped for him too because I think
that car is not going to try to steal my spots under yellow now because Jim Hoopening, he might have a little thing about that, and he might have tried that on Friday. And I had to give him the little shimmy up in front of him and like do the no, I'm not letting you have it.
Yeah,
like thing.
I'll wait till they're.
But yeah, I guarantee you, Mike won't do that to me.
Gotta wait till you're
Yeah.
told.
He won't do that to me. I don't know about anybody else, but he won't do.
Yeah,
it to
me. I think this is good for Mikey. You know, like I don't want to say he was a driver that I was hyped in any sort of way. We know what Mikey's all about and what he's capable of when he gets behind the wheel of a sprint car.
I was hyped. He was a championship contender, in my opinion.
That's what
if he would have in this year.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I thought if he got his program
Kinda
to
sucked the
going
way
with
what
some
happened.
consistency, like we'd be talking about him in that top 5, 6, 7 battle. And obviously, one circumstance or another, it ends up being a bit of a washed out season. But uh, d- could we see this as a lasting fit? Like, can we see Mikey in that 77 next year full time? And if he can he be a contender in that race car?
I'd say for sure it's all the right stuff. Triple X chassis, that's what he likes. He's got a lot more horsepower. Mikey's a guy. I built him a motor once. I'm not gonna lie, and it was an old retread from a different engine builder that I'm not going to name, but like it was a motor like I wasn't too pumped about putting together. I'm like, this stuff kind of all sucks. He was renting it off someone else that was buying an engine off me at the time. This person brought this engine in. I'm like, this kind of stinks. You should probably build another one. But anyway, we put it together for Mike, and he wanted to race with it. And like that day, I told him, I'm never building you an engine if I ever build an engine for you again, like with horsepower ever again, because you clearly couldn't drive without it. But yeah, this motor's going to have a lot more horsepower than that. But I'm sure the crew chief Kevin Lovey's, there's another thing. Him and Mike go way back. They were on the World of Outlaw tour with Jeremy Campbell back in the day, like together, sleeping in the same motorhome and stuff. He told that story last year when he was on the pod. I think Lovey's told it too. We've had both of them. We've had them all, man. Yeah. And then, yeah, so sure that's with it. And I'm sure he's ready to go.
Yep. And looking forward to see him debut that 77 this coming weekend. We should probably get into what else have we missed? I think things have been kind of status quo across the dirt
Just
world.
The spicy. Do you want to touch on the spicy race rivals?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, people are going to see it. It's not like it's going anywhere, but
it's been going around.
Mike Bowman was on.
Let's
tee this up. Mike Bowman.
I mean, it's not even. It wasn't more of that. It wasn't even more of that.
No, it was.
It was just
more so the fact they had Bowman on and they were talking to him about being a hammer down kind of sprint car driver and how he adjusted that kind of track.
No, he was like a slick track specialist,
I guess was the term. Yes, that's right.
Not hammer down. The opposite is slick. The opposite. Right. Slick track specialist.
Slick track specialist.
Which he is. Which he absolutely is.
And this is all because he swept those 2 nights during the Pinty series where it was
technically 3 nights because he won the Friday too.
Yes, that is true. That's true. And it was mostly prepped, I would assume, the same. The only thing missing was they just
it was pretty much the same all 3 nights
on it.
Yep.
So, although I guess they would have tested the night before or 2 weeks before or 2 days before. So, Steven still.
They canceled the test.
Oh, did they?
NASCAR canceled that test.
Yeah. So, in that case.
Because Slack was going to go and then he told me, it was canceled. Yeah. Not NASCAR approved.
Oh, didn't want anybody getting any advantages, obviously.
Something.
Anyways, they were talking about the slick track specialist. And they're mentioning a lot of guys who are great on the hammer down style of racetracks. And then Adam Ross kind of reeled off a list of names that aren't as good on the slick
It
track
just
stuff, or he wouldn't consider them slick track specialists, and it got spicy.
it wasn't really spicy. I think it's more people like it didn't come out right.
I think that
But like,
that's a
yeah,
good way to put it, because like obviously Adam watches these guys every Friday night. He's not trying to put anybody down because he knows they're all talented. But when you
yeah.
compare,
That's the thing. People, yeah, they get, yeah, I get it. Like, I'm glad he didn't mention me when he was going through the list of people that weren't trick specialists. I'm going to say that, but I know a lot of people are fired up about
mhm,
it, and like even Daryl Turford made a big post about it. It's like, yeah, it's not true. Like D Dubs did go 16th to 5th in his first ever World of Outlaw Tour race, and like D Dubs was leading the the Friday night race that Mike Bowman won before the Pinty's car
yeah,
showed up. D Dubs was leading into 3 and 4.
mhm.
I know because I witnessed it. They had just lapped me. But yeah, he just, yeah, didn't come out right. That's for sure. I knew what he was trying to say because Mike Bowman did just destroy, like, kick our butts, especially the Monday and Tuesday, extra butt kicking on
And
those
he's a
nights.
modified guy. Like that kind of track is much more what he's
Mike
used to.
did say something in his interview that really, like, sprint cars have the big wing on top. They have the big right rear, and he's driven a big block at Charlotte and like at Merrittville on a bunch of slick tracks. And he just said like the discipline you have to have in a sprint car is quite a bit less. I can totally feel that. But like other people, like if you're one of the people that got mentioned, that's not a slick track specialist. Like Mike put his whole, I can't believe he put his whole entire in-car camera up on the modified. What's Adam channel called?
Modified racing channel.
Modified racing
Yeah.
channel. Yeah, sorry, Adam. Modified racing channel. Anyway, he put the whole video up so you can watch what he did, and I've watched it about 10,000 times. And like that car was not moving at all. Like if you watch that car, the car goes in, he barely moves his hands, it turns in the corner by itself, and then it rolls through the center, and then like the whole time he's not turning, it just goes through the corner. Like the whole like I bet you if you were to time him in the corners and not on the straightaways, like I bet you he'd be murdering everybody in the corners, and other people will be faster down the chutes.
So
Like I just had like something
is that
like that. Like
is that setup? Is that driver technique? Is it a combination of everything put together?
oh, that's all of it. Mike has a very strange like a driver technique where like he has his hands pretty close to the top. I've been noticing in his in-car videos, like it's like 11-1. And I asked him at the Pinty show, I'm like, man, I could never drive like that. But his answer was like, you cannot move your hands as much. And he's totally
I
right.
think didn't Dale Jr. used to drive his Cup car like that too? Like I feel like that's a thing, or maybe it was Mark Martin. Somebody did that. Somebody did that in Cup too.
Mark Martin would do like this thing, like the left
Oh right, he
side,
came all
one
the way
hand,
around.
and like the tuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. He came all the way around with it. It's totally different because, like, in a sprint car or a dirt modified, it kind of feels like you're sitting on a toilet while
There's
racing,
somebody I
or
know.
like sitting in a
There's
chair.
somebody I know that
Whereas
said
a
that they do that.
cup car, you're laid right down. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, go watch his video. Like, he's hooked up, and he's definitely got it hooked up a little bit better than the rest of us now. Like, I used to consider myself a slick track specialist, but clearly not anymore because I was like the times I've been running good this year, it was like slick, but like there was still bite to be found. Like I was finding bite off turn 2 other people couldn't find and launching like no tomorrow. And that's how like that one I've been passing a lot of cars those few nights, but then those 3 nights that bite wasn't there. And Mike's car's so hooked up, like he can be just as hooked up without the bite. And he's just got her hooked up right now. But that did ruffle some feathers. I'm gonna like there might be some spicy victory lanes on the pad for tomorrow night.
I would love to see some trash talk laid down. Some It'd be funny if it was a slick track,
And
and then that's how it played out.
I still say it just came out wrong on Adam's
Yeah,
part. But
like I say, he watches these guys every single Friday night. Like he knows better than most
yeah,
how good these guys actually are, and he doesn't need defending either. He's a big boy. He can stand by his
I
comments,
honestly,
but I don't necessarily disagree with him, but in my knowledge, just based on the fact of where Bowman is coming from. We're a guy like Stuart Friesen who did pretty much the same thing. He just never had the track position.
he's won a World of Outlaw race with the same thing, same kind of thing.
Exactly. And
At
what's he
Ohsweken,
do? He drives big
drove by
block
Donny
modifieds.
Schatz.
So
Oh, I know. It definitely teaches you the slick, like the dirty
yeah,
slick. Like we're talking like
yeah.
ice.
Like
Yeah.
you put those 360 guys into a 358 modified. I don't think they're going to struggle, but they would definitely have a hard time adjusting to how a Merrittville Speedway gets
I
by
feel
the
like
end
the
of the
other
night.
thing, like, here's the thing. Like, last week when we were talking about Ranceville, I said Dalton passed Max McLaughlin, who had been struggling, and then he went and won Brewerton Friday night.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, maybe us media guys should just shut our traps too about that kind of stuff.
Definitely something we can learn from, I would say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with that said, buddy, I think we can wrap this one. I think we're gonna just call it a quick week. Championship week at Merrittville. Hope to see you there as we crown 5 champions. I believe 4, if not 3, are completely decided. You got more?
I just thought of one last
Okay,
thing.
go for it.
It's just the thing. Pete's gonna wrap up his championship. It's gonna be his 25th
Mhm.
one. Some people think there's been like a saying where if he wraps up his 25th, he's going to retire. I say there's 0% chance of that for him retiring at Merrittville. What do you think?
So, I think I've shared with you my opinions on the Pete Bicknell.
You don't have to get too into it. I
No,
basically just
I'll
said
give
what it
my
was,
conspiracy
but
theory because again, this is just me with very limited inside knowledge. Like I don't have I'm not pretending I know the guy like the back of my hand. I'm not pretending like I talk to him every single day, every
yeah,
single
like we
weekend.
work at Bicknell's, people, like we don't see Pete
No.
very much.
And even if we
Like
did,
hardly
like
ever.
we're working. It's not like we can just sit and shoot
Yeah,
the
just
business with
walking by, say
everybody.
hey.
Like I here is what I think would have happened in a perfect world.
Oh,
So I think I think Pete would have loved to have been able to wrap it up in year 50 with a championship because last year was his 50th
mm,
season competing, right? So I think he would have loved to have been able to wrap it up last year. Didn't quite get it. At 25 and
2 years
50,
ago.
you would finish. Can you imagine finishing your lifetime at a racetrack, your lifetime championship winning percentage at 50%? That's
I
what it
know.
would have been last year, right? So,
At Merrittville, yeah.
so again, although technically, did we hand out a championship in 2020?
21 you did, 2020 you did
So
not.
technically, he still could go. Maybe not. Maybe not, because that wouldn't have been 50 last year then. I don't know. I don't know how it works out. I'd have to look at the math.
COVID screwed all that
COVID
up.
definitely messed things
That kind
up.
of
That's
stuff.
why. That's another part of the reason why I say I think Pete would have loved to have been able to wrap it up last year. And I mean, it was already a kind of cool season the way he opened it and closed it. But let's say he wins the John Spencer this weekend, wraps up the title. What else is there left for him to do other than to go out and have fun? Which I don't even know when you're as good as a driver and you've had the
He
legacy that
loves
Pete
driving.
when you've had the legacy that Pete has, how do you step away from it? Like you just said it, he loves driving so much. What else is he supposed to do at this point but go out and have fun?
I'm going with 0% chance he retires at Merrittville, but something in my brain, maybe we would see, like, I'm talked to 0 people on his crew about this. This is just me. Maybe scaling back
Ransomville.
to a one night a week, just Merrittville.
I could see it. I wouldn't be
I could
shocked.
see that. But to him I don't know, but like, I can't see him doing Merrittville. That would make it easier on his crew guys and everything too, just running Saturday. I could see that, but definitely not a full retirement. He's gonna win that 25th, and he's next thing on his brain gonna be
Exactly.
26.
There'll be something about how like
Yeah.
26 adds up to this number. Like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's a superstitious guy. I'm all about my numbers, so I would just be like looking at it and saying like, well, 26 is
Pete,
this. It means this to me. Like we could like I would come up with a way to
yeah.
come back.
When you talk about him, but like old times, like you know how like Joe Plazik, when we had him on, like you talk about him like he's right away. Whereas Pete, like he doesn't remember right away, but then it'll like kick back in, and then he'll go the same kind of thing. But like I was talking to about the time he almost won the Fulton 200, which would have been a real big win for him, but the drive yoke broke with like 20 to go. But then he told me like that year, if he would have won that race, there would have been a bonus because he won this race, that race, and this race that year and stuff. And it's definitely cool talking with Pete about back in the day kind of stuff when you get him rolling. But like, I asked him his 100th race ever win at Merrittville. Okay, it was my first dirt modified start ever. Okay, coming to the white flag, he's lapping me. I'm happy I stayed on the lead lap until lap 34 in my first ever start. But anyway, he's coming to put me a lap down, coming to the check, coming to the white. I'm racing Winfield's brother, Ken Winfield. I forget his brother's name. I forget. I don't think it's Roger. Something else. I mean, it was him. But I don't know. We made contact, and then I kind of went up the track a little bit, and that was just as Pete was going around the outside of me, and I clipped him, and I had to watch him go down into the moat, scrape the right. Like the moat was way deeper back then. Like it was a real moat, so he had to go way down there, scrape the right rear off the wall, and then he drove her out of there, kept going, and still won his 100th race. But like I asked him about that one day at work. I'm like, do you remember that? And he's like, nah, I don't remember that. I'm like, oh my God, I've thought about that my entire life since it's happened. You can't even remember. It was your 100th win. Like, oh man. But,
Well, that's what happens when you've
there you go.
won 100 races and ran as many as the guy has. So, like I say, I'm going to conclude my thoughts with I don't see it happening, but wouldn't it be a great mic drop to win the 50-lap John Spencer Memorial back-to-back years and call it a day on that one? That would be a cool moment. I just can't see it happening.
I can see him winning the race and then telling he's going to do it next year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, race fans. I'll see you next week or next year, right? Like,
yeah.
So. All right. Look at us go.
Nah,
Still almost did 50 minutes on our own. So no guest this week. We'll see if we get a guest next week. Maybe we'll have one of the champions on from Merrittville. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, you can follow us on social media at SODS_POD. And we'll see you next week. Coming off championships at Merrittville. Yep. And everybody enjoy the racing weekend. We'll see you at a dirt track near you.
Weather looks great. Get your butts to the track this weekend. It's Labor Day.
Yes, we're running out of time too.
Humberstone too. Humberstone Sunday.
I'll be there.
Oh. We always forget about them, but
yeah,
there you go.
It's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it. Take care, everybody.
Okay, now we're done.
And the Checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show presented by Ohsweken Speedway and Bicknell Racing Products. Like what you hear, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us on Facebook at Southern Ontario Dirt Show or find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SODS_pod. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.